this lecture between the two of us. So I'm going to talk about the bill itself, House Bill 4244. So definitely, the bill has a few good provisions, definitely. But our concern here are not the good provisions. Our concerns are the objectionable provisions of the bill. As a fellow lawyer who's also a member of one of the groups sponsoring this lecture would say, if we have, for example, a glass of milk that contains 1% poison, the milk is wholesome, yes, but it's the 1% poison that will harm us all, even if it's just 1%. So that's the same with the bill. Next slide, please. Okay, so next slide. So when we analyze a law or a bill, usually how do we know what a law is? How do we interpret a law? We have to first go to the intent of the law itself. What is the law intended? What does the law intend to accomplish? Second, the law should be interpreted as a whole, and each provision should be interpreted in relation to each other. I say this because there are many provisions of the bill which seem to be harmless, taken in themselves, taken in isolation from the whole bill. But if we analyze them in the context of the entire bill itself, and according to the intent of the law, then that's when we realize what these provisions would really bring about. Next slide, please. So here are some revealing provisions of the bill. Section 3, Guiding Principles. The following constitute the principles upon which this act is anchored. And among these principles are that the state shall promote without bias all effective natural and modern methods of family planning that are medically safe and legal. So it's not just that the state will allow family planning methods, it will actually promote family planning methods, actually encourage people to use without bias all effective natural and modern methods of family planning. Later on, you will see that modern methods means artificial methods of contraception. Next slide, please. Then there's this seemingly innocent provision of the bill which says that there shall be no demographic or population targets, and the mitigation of the population growth rate is incidental to the promotion of reproductive health and sustainable human development. Also, yun naman pala eh, so anong problema natin sa RH bill? Next slide, please. We have this provision which clearly reveals the intent, the main intent of the bill, as my mom has explained a while ago. The limited resources of the country cannot be suffered to be spread so thinly to service a burgeoning multitude, making allocations grossly inadequate and effectively meaningless. So it only confirms that the bill was drafted with the assumption that the growing population is a problem and population growth must be stopped at all costs. Next slide, please. So here's the definition that I referred to a while ago. Modern methods of family planning refer to safe, effective, and legal methods, whether the natural or the artificial, that are registered with the FDA of the DOH to prevent pregnancy. So it clearly includes artificial methods of contraception. Next slide, please. And then there's another revealing provision of the bill. It says that the state shall assist couples, parents, and individuals to achieve their desired family size within the context of responsible parenthood for sustainable development and encourage them to have 2 children as the ideal family size. Now, the provision says that it will not penalize anyone who has more than 2 children, but clearly the bill will encourage and even pressure people to have only 2 children. So that's really the intent. So when we read the other provisions of the bill, we have to keep in mind that these provisions clearly reveal the intent of the bill. Next slide. So this is how it defines reproductive health. Again, it's a seemingly innocent definition. But then when you look to the next slide please. Reproductive health care, again, the access to a full range of methods, facilities, and services that contribute to reproductive health and well-being by preventing and solving reproductive health problems. Next slide, please. Here, the elements of reproductive health include the following: family planning, information, and services, among others. As I just summarized, I removed the other items in the enumeration just for summarizing, because like I said, we're not concerned with the good provisions of the bill. We're only concerned here with the provisions of the bill that are objectionable, and one of them is family planning information and services, which, as we saw a while ago, includes artificial methods of contraception. Next slide, please. So family planning, this is how we define family planning. A program which enables couples, individuals, and women to decide freely and responsibly the number and spacing of their children, acquire relevant information on reproductive health care, services, and supplies, and have access to a full range of safe, legal, effective, natural, and modern methods of limiting and spacing pregnancy. Next slide, please. And then then it also defines reproductive health rights. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So, like I said, there are many provisions of the bill that are seemingly innocuous. So what's wrong with them? And reading the bill, I was asking myself, what will this bill add that we do not already have? Because right now, even without the RH bill, you can easily get contraceptives from the drugstore, from the convenience store. So why do we need an RH bill? My answer is that, upon analyzing the bill, is that the bill is not just about contraception. It is about state-sponsored, state-guaranteed, and state-promoted use of contraception. Next slide, please. So how? So these are just examples of how the bill actually makes the state guarantee, promote, and sponsor the use of contraceptives. It says that all accredited health facilities shall provide a full range, take note, it says a full range of modern family planning methods. So all health facilities are mandated to provide a full range of family planning methods. And let's say you're a religious hospital, you don't have the option if this bill becomes passed into law, you do not have the option of providing only natural methods. You are mandated, you will be directed to provide a full range of modern family planning methods. Next slide, please. And then products and supplies. So it says here, in summary, is that contraceptives will be part of the national drug formulary, and it will be considered classified as essential medicines. So you can imagine that contraceptives will be given the same priority as medicines that are needed for other life-threatening illnesses, or medicines such as, I don't know, let's say penicillin or oral rehydration solutions. Contraceptives will have the same level of priority as these medicines. Next slide, please. And then the DOH shall encourage LGUs, spearhead efficient procurement, distribution to LGUs, and usage monitoring of family planning supplies for the whole country. So it will be an effective distribution by the state of contraceptives. Next slide, please. And then there's going to be an integration of responsible parenthood and family planning component in anti-poverty programs. So you can imagine that in an anti-poverty program, there's so many things that could be taught, like livelihood skills, how to manage your money, etc. And a big part of this, people will be taught how to use contraceptives as an essential part of family planning of anti-poverty programs. Next slide, please. And this is one of the most controversial provisions of the bill. Mandatory and age-appropriate reproductive health and sexuality education from grade 5 to 4th year high school. Now, what's wrong with this? Well, this sex education is not just a matter of teaching kids the birds and the bees. The kids will also be taught that they will also be taught about contraception. They will also be taught about how to have sex without and that they have the right to use contraceptives. And they will also be taught to have a bias in favor of having smaller families. And as we said, we saw a while ago from your mom's talk, this max of population control, which we already saw, would be detrimental to our country. And just personal, and actually this is already implemented now. It's just that under the bill it will be implemented in a larger scale, and it will really be with greater force. As I was growing up, I guess most of us, when we were growing up, we would hear in our classes lessons about how fewer children lead to fewer problems. In our textbooks, we have these drawings of a large family, and they're in the slums, and then a picture picture of a small family with only 2 kids, and they're all eating properly at the table. And you can imagine the impact of that on me, for example. I grew up in a large family, and you can imagine the impact of that on a kid being told that his or her parents are not in the position to give him the best in life because the parents decided to have many children. So you can imagine that the impact of that on kids. Next slide, please. And not only that, I forgot to mention, there's also the question of the content and the method used for the sex education program. They say that they're going to have values in as a content, but what the methods are really using, is it really, actually there's a topic for an entire lecture altogether on what's wrong with the sex education program, but again, the content and the method used of this sex education program is objectionable. Next slide, here. This is another way by which the bill promotes state-sponsored contraception. It requires employers to provide reproductive health services to their employees. So you can imagine if you have a business, you're required to provide contraceptives to your employees if they ask for it. Next slide, please. Now, this is the teeth of the bill, the prohibited acts. So any health service provider who shall knowingly withhold information or the dissemination thereof, who will or intentionally provide incorrect information regarding programs and services on reproductive health, including the right to informed choice and access to a full range of legal, medically safe, and effective family planning methods. Next slide, please. Here, if a health worker would refuse to perform, let's say, a vasectomy or a bilateral tubal ligation, it's prohibited under the bill. You cannot refuse, and then you can be sent to jail if you do refuse. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Then there's this provision here. A health worker who refuses to extend, a health worker cannot refuse to extend healthcare services and information on account of the person's marital status, gender, sexual orientation, age, religion, personal circumstances, and nature of work. Now, the bill says that a conscientious objector will be respected. Let's say, okay, I am a doctor. I refuse to perform a tubal ligation because my religious belief says no. Okay, according to this bill, I'm protected. However, next slide please. However, I would still have the duty to refer the patient to a hospital that will perform the services. So, and I will still go to jail if I don't refer the patient to a hospital that provides services. So I would really be forced to act against my religious beliefs. Okay. Any public official who personally or through a subordinate prohibits or restricts the delivery of legal and medically safe reproductive health services, including family planning, or forces or induces any person to use such services. So again, a public official who refuses to provide contraceptives can be penalized. Next slide, please. It says here that any employer or his representatives who shall require an employee or applicant as a condition for employment or continued employment to undergo sterilization or to use or not use any family planning method. So an employer has to allow the employee to use any form of contraception that the employee wants. Next slide, please. So anyone, letter D refers to, there's a provision that before giving a marriage license, the couple has to undergo briefing or a briefing on family planning on contraception. And they have to present this certificate to obtain a marriage license. Under this, any person who presents a false certificate of compliance is penalized. And then this is a very objectionable provision. Any person who maliciously engages in this information about the intent or provisions of this Act. Now, makes you ask, what do they mean by malicious disinformation? They penalize anyone who speaks out against the reproductive health bill or the reproductive health law. I hope it becomes a law, but anyone who speaks out against this Act will be penalized.
will be penalized. What do they mean by malicious disinformation? And what I am doing now, what my mom and I are doing now, is that malicious disinformation under this bill will we be penalized for it. Next slide, please. So these are the penalties for anyone who violates the law, or for example, a government worker who, a hospital which refuses government worker who, a hospital which refuses to provide artificial contraception, imprisonment ranging from 1 month to 6 months, or a fine of 10,000 to 50,000 pesos. If the offender is a public official or employee, dismissal from government service and forfeiture of retirement benefits. If the offender is a juridical person, the penalty shall be imposed upon the president or any responsible officer. If the offender is an alien, he will be deported after service of sentence. Next slide, please. So if we could summarize our objections to the bill, first, it violates fundamental freedoms, freedom of religion and freedom of speech. People will totally be compelled to act against their religious beliefs, which, again, if your religious beliefs prohibit you from endorsing contraception, this bill will prevent you from acting consistently with your religious beliefs. And again, freedom of speech, because like I said, it will penalize what it calls, quote-unquote, malicious disinformation about the purposes of this act. And under this law, the powers of the state is channeled towards the promotion of contraception, which, as we already saw from my mom's lecture, causes medical and social harm. And the state is supposed to promote the common good. The state has all the powers that it has for the sake of the common good. That's why the state, for example, regulates our actions, why it enforces traffic laws and all other laws. It's supposed to be for the sake of the common good, and not for something which should cause medical, social, psychological harm to our country. Next slide, please. So there are several things we can do to prevent the passage of the RH bill. These are just a few. One, we could write letters to the editor, we could write letters to congressmen or other persons of influence. We should keep these issues in mind when we exercise our right to vote. And I forgot to include it here. When there are calls for mass action, like the rally that was held in Quirino Gangstad last month, we should respond when there are such calls to mass action, because really this bill strikes at the heart of our values and our existence as a people. Next slide, please. So if you want to write a letter about this bill, which I highly encourage people to do, actually it's very easy to do. Just keep it short, just stick to one argument. A while ago you heard so many arguments against this bill, but if you want to write a letter, maybe just stick to one and expound on it. Be able to summarize your argument in one sentence, and then why bother writing a letter to the editor even if it will not get published? Well, at least you were able to express your view. For sure, it will influence at least one person. Even if it just influences the person who reads the letter, then the letter would have done its job. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. So just to end, just to summarize, I just want to end this by sharing what my dad said when we were talking about this issue. He said that if this bill gets passed, everything that is good in our country will be obliterated. And that is true. Because our country is such a, we may not be rich in material resources, but we have a lot of values. We are very family-oriented, very God-oriented people. And we welcome children, we welcome life, we take care of our elderly, etc. And once this RH bill will be passed, all of these things that are good in our country will be destroyed. So let us hope, let's fight and protect all that is good in our country. Thank you.